MaJaMa Jams is brought to you by possibly expired yogurt. The 80s Movie Starter Pack. Take one beloved actor, or more or less beloved, from Saturday Night Live. Place him in a wacky situation. Add a character actor to play the antagonist or the mentor. Stir everything. And pray for the best.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. Now, kicking it off up top here, we want you guys to drop a comment if you're with us in the paper kingdom here. Let us know you're here, because as always, we live and die by the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for being with us, guys. Today we are getting into it with an alum of one of our collective all-time favorites, probably one of yours too, because it's so popular. If you're anything like us, a child of the 80s, a child of the 90s. You are probably a fan of Ghostbusters, and you may know Mr. Dan Aykroyd playing the iconic Ray Stantz, the heart of the Ghostbusters, an adorable little bumbling scientist that just wants to believe. But what about before he was getting blown by ghosts on camera and slapped on the front of cereal boxes? In the year that I was born, 1983, there was a little movie called Dr. Detroit. I haven't seen it before today. As usual, it comes from the Italians' DVD collection.
I can't believe it.
I'm pretty sure Matthew despised it, but we'll get into all that. I'm going to have Matthew, mainly just for fun and also because, mainly just for fun, Matthew is going to break down the movie, but do it quickly, because I think there's going to be a lot to discuss here today. It's very wacky, but not necessarily in a way that we were wrapped over.
Matthew or the movie?
Matthew is the antithesis of wacky. He sits there like a deflated sex doll, just looking like he's slowly dying, gasping for his last breaths of air, holding on by a thread as the existentialism slices through his brain like a cyst through a cornfield. And I think without our influence and the fact that you work so hard at this, we would never get him on this couch to do the show in the first place. So Matthew, with that introduction, synopsis falls on you for Dr. Detroit. Let's keep it quick, and then let's get in to this odd little movie, as Mateo says, kind of was part of a new genre, White Man Becomes a Pimp. Take us away.
A white man becomes a pimp.
Thank you.
All right.
So,
Yes.
Getting into it.
Daniel Detroit is about a man named
Daniel Detroit.
Cliff,
My name's Daniel Detroit.
who is a college associate professor and is spotted by a pimp
Yeah.
and thinks would make a good fall guy to take on the moniker of a fake rival pimp.
Yeah, because the original pimp owes $80,000 to the rival pimp, whose name is Mom, and so he invents on the spot the existence of Mr. Dr. Detroit.
He's as bad as you are, maybe even badder. I'm scared, Mom. And that's why I go along with the doctor.
The doctor?
Yeah, doctor. Dr. Detroit.
Oh,
He does the classic, actually, funnily
Mr.
enough,
Doctor.
we'll get to another similarity, but he does the Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes.
Could you tell me your name?
My name? I thought I gave it to you, dear.
No.
Oh. Doubtfire.
I beg your pardon?
Doubtfire, dear? Mrs. Doubtfire.
Well, I look forward to meeting you.
Oh, lovely, dear. Me too.
He looks at the calendar on the wall.
And the picture with the doctors.
Yeah.
I was going to say all this,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
and now
Sorry.
I feel robbed.
Sorry. So, but continue, please.
Okay, so who are we talking about?
Danny Detroit.
Danny Detroit.
Cliff, the professor,
Cliff,
gets
Phony Bob, Leo. No.
what?
You've been spooching with everybody. Snuffy, Al, Leo, Little Mo with the gimpy leg, Cheeks, Phony Bob, Cliff.
He has sex with these women, free of charge.
Does he?
At first, he thinks that they are actresses.
Yes, in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
And then the pimp, John
Houseman.
Wait, what?
No, Howard Houseman. Yeah.
Howard Hughes
Howard Hughes.
flees the country to
Pago Pago.
Pago Pago, and leaves Dr. Detroit in charge of his hookers. And then he has to go and... Why does he have to...
Simultaneously, the father of Clifford, who is in the board of directors of the university where Clifford teaches, is waiting for a generous check from a benefactor.
Speaking of Clifford, imagine how red that thing's
Dong.
dong.
The big
Must
dog,
be,
the gigantic dog, yeah.
Well, I mean, I gotta say, besides being big and red, this dog is healthy as a horse.
So you don't know what made him grow like this?
I'm sorry, I don't. Living there like a toxic waste dump. Or maybe on top of a burial ground, because I saw this movie this one time.
Okay, I think we're done here.
All right.
That was the deleted scene in the Kenan Thompson movie. Just getting savagely penetrated by a CGI dog. Matthew, was that the end of it?
Who knows?
No, but pretty much everything that conflates into... No, not conflates. Winds
Inflates.
up into an hotel where from one side there is a pimp reunion where they
Players'
want
ball.
to... I'm sorry?
Players Ball.
Players Ball. With, for some reason, James Brown.
This movie is absurd.
James Brown just looks like a human bobblehead.
Yes.
It's crazy how just he looks manufactured to be a toy.
He looks like
Or a character.
a cake made of
James Brown.
of James Brown left in the sun for too long, and it just starts to go down. From one side there is this players' ball, and from the other one there is this meeting for the university where they have to hand this check from the benefactors, and with the Mrs. Doubtfire, the Aykroyd keeps running from one set to the other, changing in between, becoming Dr. Detroit and going back to turn into Clifford, but then Mom arrives and they have a huge duel and the two parties merge together, something like that.
All right, enough of all that, because this is
the point of the show to tell these people what happened? They didn't see the film?
None of us like that part. But I guess that's when you put it that
What
way,
part?
it feels sad.
Oh.
The synopsis. But none of us like it. It's boring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you're right. They should know enough. But let's get into it now, because this movie was not unenjoyable. Well, okay, let me start with this. Do you remember, you're better at this than me, in a recent episode we were discussing the shtick of Chris Kattan shoved into Corky Romano and Will Ferrell and that type of whole thing, and people's shtick being put into vehicles?
Yes.
Episode? I guess it doesn't matter what episode it was.
Yeah.
But
That was right now.
right off, it's happening now.
No, this is
Movie.
yeah. No, it's kind of, since, okay, this is the first solo vehicle for Dan Aykroyd.
I'm dreaming.
It's the first movie that he's no co-billed with anybody, because up till that point he was cast ensemble in 1941 by Spielberg. He was with the Blues Brothers, but of course back then it was a John Belushi movie. He is in Neighbors, again John
Is
Belushi,
this
Dan
like
Aykroyd.
pre-Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Oh, they're tasty.
They come in 4 flavors.
Great idea. Yeah, 4 flavors. Hey, Earl, you want some of your daughter's panties? They come in 4 flavors. Banana, peach, mint, and of course, cherry.
Good night, ladies.
Because Neighbors is 1982, is the last movie that Belushi did.
Before.
You know,
Dying.
that just proves, okay, So what I was going to start off with all of that just proves
Yeah.
is that Dan Aykroyd is one of those people where you're like, of course I know him, he's Ray Stantz, but then I'm like, wait, what else have I seen him in? I mean, that's crazy that was all that before.
Yeah, and at the same time, he was famous for playing all these quirky characters on Saturday Night Live.
Super automatic cuts, chops, slices, dices, mixes and blends herbs, plants, twigs, sprigs, leaves, branches, claws, teeth, eyes, ears, skin, hair, blood, flies, insects, limbs and organs of all kinds, toads, lizards, newts, mice, rats and bats, faster than you can knife a goat.
A kid, the average kid, he picks up, broken glass anywhere. The beach, the street, garbage cans, parking lots, all over the place in any big city. We're just packaging what the kids want.
Welcome. I'm Julia Child.
Jane, you ignorant slut.
Hence, in this movie, he is Clifford. He briefly becomes this southern lawyer during a trial, and then he becomes, of course, Dr. Detroit. So,
And then when the camera cuts, he becomes a cokehead.
That was probably before that. But...
Probably throughout.
Yes. Before I forget, because then I'm sure that I will, is absolutely not important to the discussion of the movie. That's why I put it here. Because...
Where is the cocaine?
Okay, 3 things. 1 is that. 2, Monica, the blonde hooker of the quartet of protagonists, is Donna Dixon, who now is Miss Donna Aykroyd.
And have a party tonight.
They met on this movie. They got engaged and married very shortly. She is also in Spies Like Us and The Couch Trip with her husband. And she was also in the sitcom. He did a sitcom where he was playing a minister.
You know what this is here? This is an original gas cap for my Harley-Davidson FLHP Police Special. This was made in 1971.
Wow, that's older than me.
And worth more. Nothing personal, sweetie. That's just what the Blue Book says.
And she occasionally would appear there.
Dixon.
Yes, that's the first thing. The second thing, which you guys did not notice, and I'm ashamed of you. One of his students in his class is a very, 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 very young Alan Ruck. From Ferris Bueller, from Speed, from a bunch of other stuff.
That's it?
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Doctor, my man, give me 5, man.
I'll give you 20 and then you can keep the change.
Too much, man. Too much. Yeah? See you at the Players Ball, my man, huh?
All right.
I did not. But in fairness, today felt like I was experiencing a fever dream. But I'm still here live for you guys. So I'd rather die than miss an episode. Or... No.
You lucky.
So from the very first scene of the walking...
Yes, speed walking.
I immediately thought, right off the bat, and also him talking to himself, what a great vehicle for Dan Aykroyd.
Mm-hmm.
Adjusted EPA downtown is now 3 minutes plus and counting down.
And then as we continued on, I started thinking again of our conversation about shtick being fit into vehicles because, again, I think it's a good fit, but this is just a very bizarre...
Forget it, everything's peachy.
It's good for his talents, but it's such a strange story, and I think the... Okay, here's my main, and then I'm interested to see, because the whole time I was sitting and I was...
Get that away.
The whole time I was like, I bet Matthew's going to be like, what the was this, man? I don't know, I got a vibe.
He knows you like a brother.
Unfortunately, that's true.
My only problem is, and usually with this type of movie I would never be the one to say this, but I guess we all have our moments where we're like, we do the mom Home Aloneing, which is when after the 37,000th time I watched Home Alone with Mom, she's like, oh, this is awful. That would kill them. His neck would be broken. We've been watching this since I was 8. What are you doing? We all love this, all right? Yes, they would die.
Heads up! Don't worry, Marv, I'll get him for you.
But I don't believe as well as he plays the nerdy professor, I don't know if this nerdy professor at the spur of a moment could pull out a Southern lawyer impression or a pimp impression that should only come from someone whose life is chasing SNL.
I knew it. I knew it, indeed, I knew it.
So while I think he plays them all with gusto, in fact, I was particularly impressed by the verve of the Southern lawyer. I was like, if you're that guy, that's like being like, hey, you're a college professor in real life. Can you give a Mad TV type performance? It's like, I'm not saying people who trace traditional careers can't be goofy, but the fact that he just throws himself into it, again, great flexing role for Aykroyd, but it just seemed...
What did he teach?
I teach comparative literature at Monroe College. I'm a full assistant professor now. My father's chancellor of the college. I'm committed.
Okay. And even more so, and this is why I have the feeling, and in the trailer, there are a couple of shots that are not in the movie, so it means that they have shot much more. Even more than that, when in the end his fight with mom spills into the college dinner fundraiser, whatever it is, he talks to everybody about the doctor as if Dr. Detroit has become a celebrity that everybody knows.
I thank you, sir, and the college thanks you, and my parents thank you.
And the doctor thanks you.
But up till that point in the movie, it looks like that it was only known in the nightlife, so that those people shouldn't even barely know what is, because I don't think that a pimp of at least the city fame becomes that popular. So among the people from the school, from the college.
Oh, don't you think he just had to do that because he was forced to in that situation?
Yeah, but at the end when he says, I thank you, the college thank you, and the doctor thank you, as if the benefactor knew instantly who the doctor was. Nobody knew about it. So it looks like there is a movie that probably the first rough cut was about 6 hours, and then they had to chop scene after scene after scene to make it a brisk 90 minutes, which is...
Now that's entertainment.
But they just like... So probably there is also something... Because for instance, he goes into the theater arts to get the costume of... maybe...
He's a homo.
Maybe there was a scene before where you see him envying people on stage, which would have say, oh, it makes sense that he then becomes this lawyer.
Yeah, make him like a drama professor.
Yeah, exactly.
Still nerdy as hell, but like he teaches acting.
Yeah, something like that. So it's a very weird... That's why I also chose this movie, because I remember it fondly for what it was in the 80s, but it's pretty much as a comedy with no jokes.
Oh, honestly, some people just can't take a joke.
There are very...
It's interesting you said that. I was thinking, is it just that I'm not that with it, or it's like there's not... The situations are absurd, but yeah, there's not a lot of...
It's just, well, first of all, it's a movie from the 80s, so if you have a gun, you miss everybody or something, or the worst that can happen to mom is black eye and the arm in a sling or something like that, so there is nothing...
I thought he was going to slit her throat at the end, because everyone was just killer.
My good people, what'll it be? So be it! You're finished in this town, Mom. Through, banished, exiled in your community. Ladies and gentlemen, the doctor's a compassionate man. Throw this trash bag out and never let her darken Cook County again.
Yeah, the movie really has situations that you say, oh, okay, that's a funny thing. I mean, the bit in the court when he becomes the Southern lawyer, it's kind of like funny, but there is not really... I mean, yes, there is a joke that the hooker that he sends out, he says that is his sister.
That girl is colored.
Honey, nobody colored me. I was born this way.
Kill me, baby. That's all right. Bye-bye. See you later.
Diablo could have told me you were the black person.
What, bailiff? I want that man charged with impersonating a cracker.
Yes, sir.
But that is, there are really no... Yeah, there are a couple of moments, like when he says...
Anybody care to comment on the concept of death before dishonor? Comments? Anyone? No? Good.
Drops,
That I actually thought was funny.
on the desk.
Well, it's
a lot of fourth wall breaking.
I'm dreaming.
No more bucks from Uncle Sam. It's gotta come from someplace.
See what money pleasure brings? See what pleasure money brings. Thanks, my man.
which I liked.
Yeah.
Well, let me see if my aim was true. Matthew, what did you think about this? Because I know it sounds like I'm doing a bit, but like I'm watching this whole thing and I'm like, and again, not to say that I'm like, well, I loved it. I was kind of thrown off too, but I was like, I feel like Matthew was gonna be like, what the is this? So
I don't exactly know why, but yes.
Yeah, see? Come on, come on. I was dead on.
I have a strong distaste and even predisposed, because I haven't seen a lot of them, for
movies with actors.
For Aykroyd comedies.
Really?
And
I remember
That's an interesting thing to say.
You didn't like Spice Like Us, if I remember correctly.
What was that?
These are our newly arrived surgeons, Doctors Trowbridge and Greenbaum.
Doctor?
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 And doctor. Well, we miss anyone?
We saw it.
Yeah, we did see it a long time ago.
Okay.
And I don't think you liked it either.
I hated the Blues Brothers.
Well, try not to be so negative all the time. Why don't you offer some constructive criticism?
Well, but that's mostly because of the music.
No.
No.
Oh, yeah,
music.
It's I've talked about
love
this
the
because
music.
the intended effect that you would hope to show it to someone, I got. Matthew, it's just that frequency, which Blues Brothers is definitely a frequency comedy where you have to be tuned into it.
It's odd. I can't put my finger on what's wrong with it, but this
didn't work for him.
Animal House.
That's not Aykroyd.
I know, but it's of Belushi and of this time.
See if you can guess what I am now. I'm a zit. Get it?
Trading Places I haven't seen, but I'm.
What about Nothing But Trouble?
You'd
You'd like it for the mess?
Not really. Yeah.
Oh, I will let you be on your way. And when you go, that cat's eyes will spin.
Okay. We'll listen.
Hey, ho, ha, ho. Hula, 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 the bula, bula, bula. Look who's got the front seats of the Mexican hat dance now. Just like a bunch of spiders in a birthday cake.
We watched Neighbors.
Neighbors was awesome.
Yes.
Okay, never mind. He did see it, but...
What are you up to now?
Except Ghostbusters.
Yes.
I think we better split up.
Good idea.
Yeah, we can do more damage that way.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
I need some sleep.
Okay, all right. So you sleep, okay? Edison survived on 2 hours sleep tonight. He took cat naps in his lab. Right.
That's all right. Cat naps. Edison. 2 hours. I'm gonna sleep. It's good. Sleep.
I can't even label why I have a strong for them.
If I had to guess, it's not exactly right, but I have... Sometimes I feel like older comedies are...
Older.
Very... And it's going to sound weird, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but just being a comedy hound, and maybe this ties in somehow, an older comedy will be very story-based, like very strong story, and then it's like, and then you get 1, 2, 3 comedy parts throughout the thing, whereas perhaps what we were raised on was more of like a, my mind jumps to Ace Ventura.
Yes! Yes! Oh, yeah! Can you feel that, buddy? Huh? 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 I have exorcised the demons. This house is clear.
Where are the jokes? It's rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat. Do you know what I mean? With like the older comedies, it's a very strong story, and then you just slightly pepper it in. Is it maybe something like that?
I don't think so. I'm circling because I really have no idea to pinpoint what it is.
My follow-up
but
question
I
is
would not
then-
say it's even the ratio of jokes or.
Follow-up question is then why? I mean, we all love it, but why Ghostbusters? No.
Well, it's a complete, very different genre too for the incorporation of ghosts.
It's quite
and you
unique. Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's
the mashup of the comedy with the ghosts.
Ghostbusters is more similar to Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein than to this one.
Yeah.
Back. Back. Back.
Yes, master.
He thinks I'm Dracula.
So,
If
yes.
someone said, "What's your answer for as close to perfect as a movie can get?" Even though I guess we'd all agree begrudgingly that no movie can actually be perfect, but I think Ghostbusters is really close to perfect. Even the fact that Bill the douche Murray says it doesn't get funnier than the first 45 minutes, and even then, like, what are you talking about?
I thought that Mimic 2 was pretty good.
Cliff, may we have your attention, please? I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
But I get what you say. And if you remember, I hope you do remember, because we did see it also. We watched Police Academy, which when it came out, you weren't even born. Bastard, you were 1. But I remember back then, it was saying, oh my God, it's a machine gun of jokes.
Ready now, sir. Thank you. Got him.
Whereas when we watch it, it's just like, there's a joke, breathe a little bit, there is another joke, it's just like, yes, it's not the rat, it's a rat.
To me, I think the independent of the timeline, the one that I would give the crown to, I was astonished by it, was Brain Donors.
Right, sign that.
This paper's blank.
I'll fill it in later.
Fair enough. You're not going to cheat me or anything?
I give you my word as a gentleman.
Well, you had me until then.
All right. 50-50 split.
Now this is more like it.
What about me?
To show you no favoritism, Rocco and I will also split your salary 50-50.
Thanks.
That should keep you out of a higher income bracket. Come to think of it, that should keep you out of any income bracket.
Yes.
Like whether or not an audience member watches that and thinks they all hit or any of them hit or whatever the ratio is, like that thing is just like, what, 10,000 jokes over 90 minutes?
Yes. It's but the Brain Donors is molded over one of the Marx Brothers movies.
In case I never see you again, which would add 10 years to my life, what would you fellas want to play football?
Well, first we want a football.
Well, I don't know if we've got a football, but if I can find one, would you be interested? I don't want a hasty answer, just sleep on it.
I don't think I can sleep on a football.
Who's gonna settle for these drinks?
Your stock.
Can you cash a check for $15.22?
Sure.
$5, 10, 15, and 22. Thanks. As soon as I get a check for $15.22, I'll send it to you.
Again, I like and appreciate it, but I feel like far too many modern people, maybe even comedy fans, would be like, can we speed this up? Perhaps unfortunate to say, but that's why I feel like Brain Donors is like that, just like ×3. Like
Neighbors is
based on a Thomas Berger novel that is equally as excellent.
Yes.
But John
Albert Brooks?
No, John Belushi, who lives in the suburb of town with his wife. Dan Aykroyd, blonde, becomes his neighbor with Katie Moriarty, the owner of, or the former owner, I don't know if you're still in, of Mulberry Pizza. And
what?
Yes, they move in the house nearby, and for about 48 hours drive Belushi crazy, but eventually he befriends them because they say, my God, you guys know exactly how to live.
Saddens me you don't remember that, because the book was astonishing.
We
and
definitely saw it.
The movie is, felt the
That was a
movie did a
statement.
good job of capturing it.
And
like the Bologna bologna packages on your shirt.
Oh, thank you. I have another one here, and one here.
God, bologna is so vomit-inducing.
Yeah.
I had it a lot as a kid and genuinely enjoyed it, but when I think about it now, and then I think about the idea of someone getting white bread, bologna, and enough mayo that you can see it creeping out from the bread, and it's just like, oof, oof.
I think it's the fact that it has that crust around it.
Alrighty.
Good.
So Aykroyd was a huge deterrent for you right off the bat.
It's a weird thing to say, but yeah. Very weird thing to say.
What's interesting is that this movie, this movie somehow, even with not being completely with it, exacerbated the effect of Ray Stantz with me, where I was just I was watching this almost, not retroactively, I was watching this like, oh my God, it just makes sense why he's such a great Ray, because you just see the qualities, even though this one isn't as hard, because like Ray is so beautiful because he really is the heart of the girl. He's a child that believes. I always love the scene where he's like,
Hey, does this pole still work? Wow, this place is great. When can we move in? You gotta try this pole. I'm gonna get my stuff.
it's very weird. It's weird for me to say a movie is weird. But this one was like, what are you doing? But then again, also, I don't want to say that it wasn't...
Weird's a weird word. Weird's not the right word because it's not unfocused or not telling a story.
And also, Dan... what is the movie? Is it a haunted house with Marlon Wayans? Does that might have that correct?
Oh, yeah. The parody of Paranormal Activity?
Yes, I was actually almost going to suggest watching that for the show because I've always really liked Marlon, and I remember watching that. I didn't think it was that great, but it's objectively Marlon is working his ass off. Similarly here, I could never accuse Dan of not bringing an A-plus performance. This is clearly someone who is getting his first starring role and is aware of it. And it's a fantastic performance. And when he was in the nerdy professor character, I thought, wow, what great casting. Like the same verbiage that he would bring to Ray, that's probably what it was. The same verbiage he's bringing to Ray Stantz with the scientific talk that flows so beautifully. He brings that to, what is the line? Okay, speaking about no jokes, the one thing that really made me crack up was when he says,
I'm not tense. Yes, you are. I can feel it, Cliff, right up in there.
Oh, my latissimus dorsi, you're so right.
What's a medulla oblongata?
Mama say medulla oblongata.
It's part of the brain that goes over here.
What's the little thing in the back of your throat?
Uvula.
Uvula. Okay. Welcome to Name Your Body Part.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
This'll stop him.
I think, Therefore I Am, the card.
The Billie Eilish song?
I think that the biggest detriment of this movie is the directing. The director has not done many movies. He's very...
Sorry, who was the director?
Michael Pressman, I think, who also produced, if memory serves, he produced Lake Placid. Of all things, but he is extremely fluent on television directing. He's done a lot of that. He's done House of Cards, I think, and a lot of stuff. But almost never comedies, because you need to have a sort of a rhythm and a passion and a sense of humor and everything to make a comedy actually work. I've seen horrible comedies just like dying on the because nothing happened, much like that tape recorder that has never been activated, but never mind.
We'll press it now?
Yeah, sure.
I think another issue was
the Asian accent jokes.
The issue was that there wasn't like a real need for him to jump into this role. Like he
right. That's a good Mateo point.
He hooked up with all these girls the night before, and then they call him because the one girl goes to jail.
And he could have said no.
And he's like, "Oh my God, I gotta go. I'm gonna go."
Well,
and
in fairness,
pretend to be a lawyer and just go into the middle of a courtroom and talk to a judge and not be nervous.
They do play him. I'll at least grant you the fact that they play him as sweet and caring.
I must say, though, ladies, you have given me the most extraordinary week of my life.
Oh, sweetie.
Really?
Yes.
But they don't at least to give a grain of salt towards why he might do that. But I'm thinking of your. I have two examples and one I forget. So the first one I definitely remember is and I think both are from Roger Ebert. Liar Liar versus Yes Man.
Yes.
Liar Liar is a magical wish, which is why that movie is a f***ing machine, because a magical wish is what can you say to it. Whereas Yes Man is just like, I'm trying to always say, dude, just say no.
Yeah.
And the other one is this could be solved by picking up a phone, which I don't remember.
Oh, almost every single romantic comedies with misunderstanding.
But there's one you always bring up specifically that Roger Ebert said if
yes,
he would have picked up a phone.
Endless Love.
Okay.
With Bruce Willis. With Brooke Shields.
I get them confused sometimes too.
Yes. They look so much alike because they both have a nose.
Yeah.
And I tend to mix them like that.
Shit. Are you kidding? He's for real.
Well, Matthew kind of is building on what I'm saying is that the roles are really great, but why we don't have a purpose to drive such a high concept comedy. It always works best, as we've talked about this struggling with some of our own scripts. People have to be forced, otherwise the audience is going to be like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, no, the stakes need to be higher for everybody, and that's why I had the feeling that, and I had it even when I saw it a long time ago, that there are a lot of scenes missing, because yes, I am willing to help you if you need something, but I just met you and you're asking me to become a pimp and to save stuff, and
Plus he comes up with it on his own too.
Yes.
Here's what you do.
I mean, granted, there is the moment where he, as Clifford, meets Mom, and he, on the spur of the moment, pretends to be the assistant of Dr. Detroit.
That's my offer. Tomorrow night, 126th Street, Graveyard, midnight. No excuses, no substitutions.
I don't talk to flunkies. I'll meet with your doctor. We'll settle this shit together.
Well, then fine. If our business here is concluded, I'll kindly ask you to leave.
But at the same time, would he?
I just solved the movie. Here's what you do.
Great.
He's a drama teacher, and he's the classic actor cliche to whom... No, I'm just building... He's the actor cliche to where drama is life, and he desperately wanted to be a movie actor, but he was stuck being a professor. And number two, because unsavory types are involved, we have your mother, your dad, your whatever, hostage. So now, life-threatening situation, you have to, and your whole life has been about taking on acting roles. Boom, this suddenly ratchets up.
Either that or Howard Hessman, original pimp, the one who comes up with the idea of Dr. Detroit, is his buddy from when they were a child or something, so he wants to help him. So either one of them, but there needs to be...
Or involves him so deep he can't get...
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because you're right, it's pretty much just a good Samaritan thing.
Yes.
And like I said, to give a small crumb towards that, he is played as the type who would do that, but it's simply just, it's like being like, you know, hey, Mateo, can you impersonate someone to go save someone you met last night from the mob? It's like, all right, you're a good person, but you're not going to jump up and start putting on like a disguise and throwing yourself into life and death.
The one thing is that if I ask you, could you play Santa Claus for my kids because they think that is me, and so at least we throw them off, that is something that you may say, sure. But from there to say, could you play a pimp to avoid getting killed or having this girl getting killed?
Wait, why wouldn't he have to pay Mom the money he owes her if there's another pimp?
If it was up to me alone, I'd be thrilled to settle this thing with you, but, well, I got a new partner.
Another partner?
This guy, this dude from Detroit, he just moved in on me.
That was also a question I had. Why is he suddenly just like, well, I've been working with someone else, so it's all on them, and I'm just going to leave? Like, what?
Yep. Like, you won't get your money from me, so you got to get it from him?
Yes.
Okay.
The idea is that.
Okay.
So.
But I feel like it's like, okay, we'll kill him, and I'll go get it from him and kill him.
Once again, movies from the 80s.
And Mom was a kind of odd.
Well, I like the non-traditional choice.
I get it. But you have a fat lesbian in a blue dress with pearls, sword fighting Dan Aykroyd at the end of the film as your finale.
It's strange. I told you, it's a movie that.
I mean, that seems like the thing we would love too. I just don't think it was handled properly.
No? Good.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
I've got to go up and get some winks before my 11 o'clock lecture.
You've got a 9 o'clock.
Today Wednesday?
Yes, Wednesday.
I thought it was Thursday.
Man, pre-GB Aykroyd was some weird times, huh?
His brother Peter appears briefly in the movie.
His real-life brother?
Yes.
Any comments? Mr. Frankman, what do you think of Lancelot's crisis?
Well, I think Lancelot was an idiot.
Mr. Frankman, how long have you been in the first year program?
4 years.
What is Aykroyd's... Actually, no, stupid question. Trading Places. What's the next biggest film besides Ghostbusters, Trading Places, and...
Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers.
Yeah, but even with those three, I feel like GB is so higher above
Well,
the other two.
if you it's not exactly a Dan Aykroyd movie per se, but Driving Miss Daisy, he got an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
What?
Yep.
New Graham Greene, huh? I've been wanting to read that.
Well, I'm sorry I can't lend it to you. It's due back at the library tomorrow.
Want me to return it for you?
No, thank you. I will go to the library on the streetcar.
Damn it, Mama. Would you quit being so stubborn? You know perfectly well we're
Go
gonna
on now. Go on. You don't want to keep the horses waiting. Bye. Bye.
You even know he was in it.
He was the son of Miss Daisy. He was Mr. Daisy. No, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
We could only ever trump Mateo on Hood Cinema, just like Logan. Otherwise, we're just drowning in his endless sea of immaculate facts.
I can't trump anyone on anything.
Great soundtrack from the 80s. Devo.
Yes.
Did the soundtrack, the couple of songs.
Oh, when you said John Pressman, it made me think of the opening.
Michael Pressman.
Sorry, Michael Pressman.
You think of John Houseman.
It made me think of the opening credits, and strike number one was that god-awful font.
Yes,
Oh my
it was
God,
very weird.
So terrible. Look,
Purple, I mean, granted, I'm sure that it was pimp, pink is similar.
it was purple. I'm gonna
Pimp,
Pimps
purple.
do wear a lot of purple.
I'm going to look into the camera and tell all of you who might be watching this something. If you ever meet a so-called artist that doesn't understand fonts, you f***ing run, because that's thing number one. That's honest. I can't tell you what a f***ing shitty font. It makes me lose all faith in people.
Yeah, also because the Dr. Detroit in
Good
the
font.
poster is
Yeah,
great.
great font.
So put that in superimpose.
I will also
Ghostbusters had the Ghostbusters over there.
And they had a ghost.
And it's a ghost.
I will also say that...
I'm talking, of course, of Ghostbusters 2016.
Of course.
It's the only one that counts.
Ghostbuster, who you gonna call?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, did you want to?
Sorry. I'll let you.
Next time.
They rode up to my house.
The trailer you showed us, which was a supplementary feature on the DVD.
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray. Once again, showed how great Aykroyd's energy is.
Yes.
Remember the classics, though, such as Dr. No. Dr. Zhivago. Now, at last, Dr. Detroit.
And again, perhaps in the massive, suffocating omnipresence of Ghostbusters in mine and many others' lives, I forgot that Aykroyd is a bred sketch actor, which means he did a lot of sketches about sandwiches. Bread. I feel like death. So, I think we can all agree that it's kind of, there's some spark there. There's the comedic spark you want in something like this, but it's just such a weird. And the Doctor Doom hand. Where do you get the Doctor Doom hand? The metal
theater.
Theater.
Yeah, right. That was explained totally.
Let me up. That. I want that. What do you want that thing for?
But it's part, I guess, it is part of an armor.
You know what? It's a complete misstep to not have him be the same nerdy dude, but he's a drama professor that always had a passion for acting. And then you're involved with the
Once again, Mr. Doubtfire. Get it done in the first 2 minutes. You get what what he does. Kid gets fired.
You're involved with thugs and stuff. Have your family's life be in danger, and you've been a lifelong actor, and this movie is perfect.
In Mr. Doubtfire, it works because it's his family. He's fighting to see his kids, so you are with him.
Was that Dan Aykroyd?
No, Robin Williams.
Only when the woman was.
Oh, he was in costume.
Yeah.
Yes. And
man, Robin, huh?
Robin Hood. Yes.
Recently watched Jumanji. Still pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to rip off your head and shit down your neck.
Like, people do such great things, and how are the rest of us supposed to feel?
Failures. You're a failure.
Yeah.
It's not all right. It's not all right.
But it's okay.
The thing is that it's the same thing when you say, never mind. Then we go. No, I was saying then we go into politics.
So it seems like we're kind of all having the same consensus that a lot of great parts, with just a kind of a what the type of package that it's in. But one can see why Aykroyd went on to do other things based off this. It's definitely a great starring vehicle, one way or the other.
And in fact, they were actually the joke at the end, The Wrath of Mom.
Oh yes, I meant to ask you about that.
There was supposed to be a sequel, but then this movie tanked spectacularly.
Oh, thank you. That was my other question.
Yeah.
Because I always wonder, are our feelings akin to how the audience
No,
how did the movie do?
It tanked spectacularly. It became a cult in subsequent years, but when it came out, it just it nosedived almost immediately, and so all the project was scrapped. And
great title card. Speaking of fonts, the Wrath of Mom at the end?
Yes, well, it's a parody of The Wrath of Khan from Star Trek 2.
Of course it was. Very sick.
Let's vote so you can go and puke.
Okay.
We're going to start with Matthew.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go with 4.5.
Oh, wow.
I guess it's not bad.
Mm-hmm. But it's not good.
But it's...
what was your least favorite aspect of it?
Like I said, it's a very weird disdain, disinterest, dislike of...
Dan Aykroyd.
No.
Of these movies?
This time period.
I can't even... No, not even that. I don't know.
I do understand what you mean about Animal House. I remember watching it and thinking this is funny, but perhaps you expect... Again, our comedic anarchy from our generation is different. When you see something like Ace, it's almost like Animal House is John Belushi's crazy, but he's in a layered, slower-paced movie.
And Animal House has John Landis, who knows humor and knows how to shoot a gag or a joke.
Just blanks, right?
Which is it makes a tons of difference in comedy. It's like
because I wouldn't encapsulate 78 through 84 as comedies that I dislike. It's something I can pinpoint this even before I saw it. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna like it.
Mm-hmm.
See, my gut feeling was correct.
Oh, shut the fuck up, man.
This is a bit of a weird one for me.
Maybe I shouldn't have been so harsh.
No, I think you really didn't like it. So that's
No, I didn't like it, but maybe 4.5 was a lot.
How much do you want to do?
No, it seems about right.
You don't know what's in my head.
There are 3.5.
All right.
3.5.
No.
4.5.
4.
4. 4. Okay, let's do. That's the magic of special effects.
Whoop.
4.
That was a half?
Yes.
Yes. Can't you count?
All right, I am confused. So I'm going to do what I usually do when I think this is a perfect 1, 2. Damn, this one's getting really soft. 2.5 because I'm kind of confused. I feel like it doesn't deserve full-on hate, but doesn't deserve full-on praise. Interesting, but jumbled. 2.5 right down the middle for Jason.
And I go with you, 2.5. And
it's not about what's right. It's about what's fair.
I instead like Dan Aykroyd very much.
No. I like Dan Aykroyd.
Okay. And I love the Devo song.
It is a great song.
And I think that it was, and I remember it fondly when I saw it the first time in Italy. So it was also in Italian, so even more confusing.
At least you could speak it.
Yes, barely. Like my English is barely that too.
MaJaMa.
Nothing can destroy the Doctor.
MaJaMa. And as usual, it's always nice to see every now and again a comedy that doesn't completely work, because it just it starts to make your wheels, cogs, and everything work, and say, I would have done this. That would have been true. So it's something. It's also an exercise or a lesson, if you will.
It seems strange that they wouldn't go with a drama teacher. The more I think about it, that was the big one for me. Like, this dude isn't going to.
Especially if you're playing another character, yeah.
Yeah, this dude's not going to jump into being a Southern fried lawyer from in the middle of your.
You strike me as a gentleman, sir. Surely you must understand.
If you had just done Dr. Detroit, like he was forced into doing that, like, okay, fine. But the fact that you have to do 2 characters.
Oh, we forgot to mention T.C. Carter, D.K. Carter, T.C. whatever. He was in Good Morning, Miss Bliss.
Where do you want the VCR?
I don't know. I never expected to get one.
Did Mr. Belding approve this?
Absolutely. And the entire set of American at War. They have one of Little Bighorn. There's even a post-game interview with General Custer. Just kidding.
And he was in The Thing by John Carpenter.
And he played
one of the guys.
Close that door. Where's McGreedy?
I cut him loose in the lineup by his shack.
Cut him loose?
Yeah, we were up checking around his place. I found this. Look. It was stashed in his own oil furnace.
Which one in here?
The black one.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Shit.
All right.
Just like
his name was Diavolo?
Diavolo.
I thought it was Diablo.
The whole movie I thought.
The whole time.
No, it's Diavolo, which is
Diavolo.
almost how we spell it in Italian. In Italian would be Diavolo with an O.
Which means?
Devil.
Oh.
but they say Diavolo, which is...
Diavolo. It's a cool name.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
There's gonna be a big affair tonight. We made it through.
Well, guys, this has been another jam. I think it was a good one for our comedy-obsessed brains. Again, if you've stuck around this far, go ahead and drop that comment. I've felt all day like I'm in the middle of a fever dream, but I'm glad I plowed through this one. And, you know, I think next week we're going to be back with a whole new jam.
Oh, you think?
We're not going to watch the same movie?
I think we might.
Okay.
Or we might watch Dr. Detroit again. But we're going to take you out
with Matthew's classic signature line.
I'm sorry I didn't bring any cash with me.
Which is the same reason prom night didn't go well.
All right.
With the hookers.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Your will is strong and healthy. More Wolfbane, more effective than Wolfbane, Count. Indeed.
Frankenstein, where is it? Where is it? Ah! Get away with that torch.
I am the servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Arnor. The dark fire will not avail you. You shall